The following is a podcast from a qualified senior care provider heard on the Answers for Elders radio show.
And welcome everyone back to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are here with a very, very special guest, the CEO of Koelsch Communities, Mr. Aaron Koelsch. And Aaron, your story, the last hour, for those of you, if you may have missed it, make sure you catch the podcast on because it's so important, I think, that has set up a framework and a balance of your whole culture and your values. And one of the things that when you go on your website, your values are interwoven into every single thing that you do. And I was so impressed by, just reading so much about your organization. Tell us a little bit, Aaron, how did all that start? And, what made that kind of that framework so prevalent?
Yeah. Again, I'll go and say that it really starts with how we were raised. Our parents, again, were raised in the part of the greatest generation during the Depression. They had work ethic. I was on a phone call with a guy this morning that said, I described your style, Aaron, as the roll up your sleeves and get involved and get in the middle of things.
Very much.
And I think that's true. We are in our communities. We know our employees. I saw an employee of ours in Sacramento, California just yesterday, and she was touring a family. And she was saying, hey, this is our owner. We're in touch a lot. And I said, in fact, Terry, when is the last time you got an email from me? And she said, 3:00 this morning. I said, exactly. So we're in the middle of everything we do. Yeah. We have to delegate after we get a certain size for sure. But we are in our communities. We know our communities, and we're really proud to do so. Our common purpose is this. We create happiness by providing the finest living experiences anywhere. We believe the term happiness is the right term. I think there's all kinds of happinesses, Suzanne. I think there's a happiness when you walk into Disneyland, which is a certain type of happiness. I think when a family member comes to me and says, your community was not here until a year ago, it is now here. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my mother and what the answers were. And then you arrived and now I have answers and tears are streaming down their eyes. Mm-hmm. That's a type of happiness. It's a different type of happiness than going to Disneyland, but it's still happiness. It's a relief happiness. Mm-hmm. And so we like that term, that we provide happiness by providing the finest living experiences anywhere. And we think that is a good summation of what we do. We couple that. Go ahead. Yes, please.
It's interesting what you're saying about that, because I often will say to families or to providers that I talk to, what do you think the number one question that every family member has in their mind? And this goes right back into, and that is people will say, oh, well, cost or what kind of community. It's like, no, it is, can I trust you?
Yes.
It's like that trust factor within family is so vitally important. And to understand that you're an organization that not only recognizes that, but takes it to the next level. It's not so much about, yes, their needs are going to be provided. That's the safety, security. But that I think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how those things, it's like the self-actualization. Every individual that lives in your community, it's clear to me, number one, yes, all their needs are taken care of, but there's this element of dignity, respect, and self-actualization, making them feel like they have a purpose. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of times, especially those that are dealing with mobility issues or feeling more vulnerable, that's the thing, that the magic, I think, that you guys tend to bring.
Thank you. You remind me of a book that we require all of our managers to read when they come to work with Koelsch. And so I give out hundreds of these. And it's a book that affirms some things in my life, but really altered my life a little bit. And it's called The Go-Giver. And I would recommend it to anybody. It encapsulates so much of what you just said right there. It's a wonderful book about the importance of making sure other people's needs are met first before your own, if you're going to have influence with people. And that's exactly what you were talking about. It also then speaks, that informs our core values. I won't read all of our core values, but I'll tell you our number one core value, and that is to treat all people with dignity and respect. And when we say that, Suzanne, we are not necessarily talking about treating our residents with dignity and respect, although yes, we must. We are first and foremost talking about how we treat each other as coworkers
Yes.
at Koelsch. And it has to start with me. It has to start with me. If it doesn't, it won't mean anything to anybody when we read it and inform them.
And you
of it.
know, you say these things, and yet your industry specifically has gone through a horrific ordeal with this pandemic. I mean, it has to have been, I know with the senior living industry, it's been overwhelming. And for you guys to, I'm sure there's so many days that are stressful and frustrating, and people are overworked and working sometimes double shifts and all kinds of things. And yet to keep that value as the center core of everything, to me, speaks volumes of what's so important.
I'll agree with you that 2020 was the most difficult year I've had in 34 years.
For so many of us, but I think,
Yes.
you know,
Yes, absolutely.
it's just been one of these challenges, I think, that we all, you know, work towards in the very best that we can. But on the other hand, it's like, wow, you know, to have that. So obviously your values can also be very innovative, because you've been doing things like we talked a little bit about the memorabilia and the surprises, you know, but you do things in a way, I think, that's really unique in the industry. And you know, how do your values, I guess, factor into how you operate things? Is that kind of a mixed up question?
No, I don't think so. But I'll take my best shot at that.
Okay.
Look, we're in an industry and a business, and it certainly is how we make our living. There's no doubt about it. First of all, we think that we are profitable when we love, and we use that word openly and a lot, when we love each resident, and this is as equally important, and their family members when they walk through the doors, not just the resident.
That's important.
Not just the resident we're serving. It is their family.
Yeah.
You mentioned your own experience. They're confused. What are we doing? How do we do it? How
Absolutely.
much will it cost? Can I trust you? And the list goes on. So our number one job, and I say it often, our number one job is to love families and their residents and their families when they walk through the door. That's how we make our living.
You know, it's so interesting you say that, because when I was taking care of my mom, my biggest support network was the nurse. It was her care, you know, care manager. It was the, you know, the social workers, all
Yes.
the different, the caregivers, all of those people that she worked, that took care of her.
Yes.
They were my support network. And
Yes.
when she passed away, it was like, shh, they were all gone. You know, that's
Yes.
how it felt. And
Yeah.
I had to all of a sudden find a way to get back to healing in my
Yeah.
own way. That was a shock, but then I did realize just how important that core staff was to me as a caregiver. And I
Right.
think that's really important.
I well said. I agree. The only thing else I'll say about Koelsch, and I don't want to tie up too much time on that subject, but part of that, treating others with dignity and respect, is that Koelsch is known for our what we call hope, growth, and opportunity. We can only care for your mother as well as our best caregiver on the floor or our best nurse. So I long ago have not stopped giving direct care to people. I'm not on the floor every day as would be expected. So having a pathway for their success, and we call hope, growth, and opportunity.
Yeah.
One example of that, and then I'll give you, I'll stop, is we have and I call him a young man, but today he's 45. He has 2 children who are in high school. But I've known him since he was 15 years old. He was a part-time dishwasher for us. He was outstanding. We promoted him to the director of his department at 18, unheard of.
Wow.
But he took initiative. He didn't have to be told. At 19, we moved him to another state to run 2 communities for us in the food and beverage department area. When he was 21, he moved back to California, which is where his home was. He wanted to get home. And at 22, we promoted him to an executive director. And today he is a area director for us, one of our highest paid employees in the entire company. He does not have a day of college, but he has a wealth of very deep experience in our industry and knows how to run a proper community, because she has done it from the ground level up.
Wow.
That is an example of what we call hope, growth, and opportunity.
That's amazing. And passion for, what he does. I mean,
Yes.
and that's the thing. It's like, you recognized something within him and gave him the opportunity to flourish. And that's what everybody wants. Again, it's having that ability to grow and to nurture yourself and your staff. And obviously that's why you are so amazing. And you do that. The other thing is to love individuals. Sometimes it's really difficult with Alzheimer's and dementia. And we're going to talk a little bit in our next segments just about Koelsch communities, the different levels of care that you guys offer. And so in the meantime, Aaron, how do we reach you?
Absolutely. One phone number you can always reach us, and if we will connect you wherever you would like to go, is 360-867-1900. And we will connect you wherever you would like to go. Our website is www.koelschcommunities.com. Koelsch, Koelsch, communities.com.
Wonderful. And everyone, we're looking forward to just having Aaron talk to us a little bit about memory care, about senior living options, different types of locations that you're located in. I know that Koelsch communities, even though they're based right here in Olympia, Washington, there are communities throughout the United States in 8 states. So chances are that for those of you that are listening, you will find one semi-close to you. And so we're looking forward again to having Aaron back in our next segment coming up right after this.
Answers for Elders radio show with Suzanne Newman hopes you found this podcast useful in your journey of navigating senior care. Check out more podcasts like this to help you find qualified senior care experts in areas of financial, legal, health and wellness, and living options. Learn about our radio show, receive promotional discounts, and meet our experts by clicking on the banner to join the Senior Advocate Network at AnswersForEldersRadio.com. Now there is one place to find the Answers for Elders.